welcome to the Top Shelf Dusters podcast. I am Amanda. I am back to just fact checking this week.
Thank
Feeling
God.
very rude, so rude. Don't know why I put up with y'all. But joined, unfortunately, by Jesse.
Let's go Predators!
Okay.
Unnecessary, and Cass.
Let's go Predators!
Let's go Predators!
I was hoping you would do that.
Fuck it, Ethan.
And Ethan, please don't do that.
Dun dun Dallas, dun stars, dun dun
Boo.
Dallas. Star. Hey Pantera, don't boo Pantera.
I think that was even worse.
What an awful
Cass just got
start.
confused. Cass got confused by the color scheme. He saw black and what looked like black, or black and gold. What looked like black.
I see
navy
all
blue.
colors. Okay, we're not going down that road tonight. Okay, so we're gonna kick it right off. Unfortunately for the San Jose Sharks, they still suck, and the number one overall pick, Macklin Celebrini, is now day to day with an undisclosed injury, as far as I'm concerned. I don't believe it's too serious, obviously, if it's day to day. Along the same lines, the San Jose Sharks sent down Askarov today, from what I heard. He's down with the Barracuda now.
That is
after trading a first-round pick for him. So that's interesting.
But think about for him, like you left Nashville because you didn't want to go to AHL.
Mm-hmm.
And think of the competition he lost out to go down to the AHL. That's even worse.
I mean, he also hasn't been participating in training camp. I think he's had an injury as well. So I don't really know how much weight that has with him being sent down. I think he'll be back. I think
As a starter?
Maybe as a backup. I don't think he's going to be starting this season. Not yet. I don't think he's ready for that. But I think he'll be back in the lineup this year.
I think so. Now, Panarin, he got injured again?
Yes, he did. So this time it seems like it's an actual injury, unless, they were just playing it safe last time. But he sustained an injury in the first period of a 5-4 preseason win against the New Jersey Devils on Tuesday. He played 4 shifts, none after the 7-minute and 13 mark of the opening period. He was only on ice for 2 minutes and 25 seconds, and he just didn't come back to the game. There really wasn't much that was said throughout the game. There wasn't really too many updates, as usually happens. But head coach Peter Laviolette said after the game that it was a precautionary move, and there's always a concern when a player leaves early. They're kind of downplaying it, but I think it's a little bit more concerning than they're making it seem.
Has he played a full game this preseason yet?
No, he has not. And he hasn't missed a game in 2 seasons either, so it's a little
Really?
concerning it's a little concerning when you have something like that happen. I get it's preseason, but you want to get the guy started. You want to get him, get his legs under him. I don't think he's had the ability to do that, so I'm hoping it's not going to be a slow start for him once he does get into the lineup, but we know how things happen.
Another year older.
Aren't we all? Additionally, Brian Rust of the Pittsburgh Penguins was put on the day-to-day list as well. The team initially described his absences as maintenance days. That was on earlier in this week, but head coach Mike Sullivan went further yesterday and labeled the top-line right winger as day-to-day, suggested the ailment is nothing serious. That's really what we've all been hearing throughout preseason, is that it's nothing serious, maintenance, it's precautionary, this and that, blah, blah, blah. The season starts next week. We'll see if these guys are in the lineup.
Does anyone else feel that Brian Rust is underrated, or is it
Yes.
just... I feel like he doesn't get enough recognition. Plus, A, he plays with Sidney Crosby, so obviously that helps. But B, he plays with Sidney Crosby. He's good enough to play with Sidney Crosby, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like he's kind of underrated.
I've picked him up a lot in my fantasy leagues over the last couple of years. He's been consistent. He's scored goals. He's been good, so I agree with you.
He kind of reminds me of like Chris Kreider.
Ooh.
Like not
That's
a
a
name
good
that you don't talk
comparison.
about a lot. but who's consistently consistent, to put it bluntly.
Yeah, Hyman would be in that category like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who's very good but didn't get the recognition.
Mhm.
One other that I'll add in, I'm jumping down on our list of things to talk about, but Patrick
Jesus.
Laine, that was another one, and there was an update about that injury. You have it here, Jesse, that it's 5 to 6. I've seen 3.
I've seen 3 to 4. Yeah.
I think the
I saw
5 to
timetable
6.
got changed.
The 5 to 6 is for defenseman David Reinbacher.
Oh, I see. What were you saying, Amanda, about Laine?
I think she was yelling at her child.
No,
Mm.
I said I've seen 2 to 3. I don't yell at my children, thank you.
2 to 3.
Mhm.
We are the children.
She yells at us more often, I'm sure. We are the world. We are the
That's
children.
what I was saying. We are the children. Looking at these injuries, and we've covered a plethora throughout the last couple weeks. How do you all feel about the preseason? Is it too long?
I think that we should shorten it. I know that there's been a lot of contention about this topic in our Freeze the Puck Hockey Discord. I don't like the preseason. I understand why they have it. You definitely want to get the main players to be able to get their legs under them, like I said earlier. Additionally, you want to see who's going to be able to get into the lineup, any AHLers, any minor leaguers that might, show up in the preseason. But with what's going on and the amount of injuries that we've seen thus far, I think it's too long. I mean, there's been a lot of big name guys, Drew Doughty, Patrick Laine, now number 1 overall pick Macklin Celebrini. These guys have been injured in preseason games. The season hasn't even started yet. So what are we going to be dealing with come, October 10th?
October 4th.
October whatever. Whenever the season started.
I agree as well. I think it's too long. I think if you chop 3 games off, no one would complain. I mean, most teams, it's only 2 to 3 spots to fill anyway. So, like, they shouldn't be playing all these guys just to send them down a game later. Like you said, Drew Doughty's out for months now.
Mm-hmm.
Or what happened?
Well, so is Laine.
Yeah, exactly. On the flip side, as a guy who has 2 young kids, these are the games I love bringing my family to because tickets are like $20. So that's the flip side to it all. But I mean,
go to AHL games.
I think I know they're basically the same price as a preseason.
Are they?
NHL
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, no, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
But on the flip side, like if they do shorten the preseason, hopefully that doesn't have us playing until the last week of June for the Cup. It's getting kind of ridiculous too.
Well, there was talk about shortening the preseason and then adding 2 games on to the regular season, which I don't really hate. And there's also been a lot of talk about starting the season a little bit earlier too. I don't know if you heard anything about that, but it seems like they want to be able to get the Cup awarded by mid-June.
That makes sense, especially if they have 2 new expansion teams.
Stop it. We'll talk about that
That's
later.
when that came out.
Stop it.
But here's my take on preseason.
Go Preds.
It's preseason's great to see the talent, the guys who are on the cusp of the NHL. The problem, I don't think it's with the number of games in the preseason. I think it has to do with the roster limitations because you can't field/ice a team with a full roster because of the limitations and not play your star players at some point. So I think that's the issue. But then if you're just sporting your AHL team in NHL preseason games, they're basically just AHL games, right?
Well, that's what happened with the Devils earlier this week. They played against the New York Rangers. They pretty much they iced the entire Utica Comets, but I think that was because they went over to Chechnya and played in Prague, which they won both games. Took away 4 points from the Buffalo Sabres. Great start.
I think if you reduce the preseason game amount, they're not playing less. you're just going to see teams scrimmage. NFL teams do this. They scrimmage against each other during training camp, whatever. And so, like, your players are still just as much at risk of getting injured.
Which has also
But
happened. I don't know.
in this, no, you're right. In the NFL, yeah, players do get injured in those, and
I'm talking about in the
kind of-
NHL. I mean, we've seen a lot of guys who have been injured in
Like
practice,
practices?
and
Yeah.
I'm assuming that they're playing scrimmages. I don't know who off the top of my head, but we've definitely heard about it. I think Reinbacher was one of them.
or they scrimmage against each other.
Yes.
It's just the same team, two different lines or whatever. But yeah, it's. But at the same time, what if you take away preseason games and you get into the regular season and your players aren't conditioned? They're not.
It's a double-edged sword.
The other thing that kind of stinks is you think we could probably all think of a player who's a regular on a team now who won a job out of camp that wasn't supposed to make the team. You know what I mean?
Will Cooley.
So like to take those 2 games away might negatively impact that. Like for us, it's the one I can think of is Brandon Carlo. Like the year he made the team, he wasn't supposed to. He had an outstanding camp, and look at him.
Even Potois, however you say that guy's name, he made it last season because of how he performed in the preseason. So I mean, it's like I said, it's a double-edged sword. You don't want these guys to be injured, but you also want the youngins to be able to show what they have. So I mean, where's the line? Where's the middle, right? Do you shorten the preseason and extend the regular season? It maybe allows a couple guys to get into a regular season game from the AHL. I don't know, but I think that these guys getting injured before the start of the season even happens, you could say it's October 4th, Ethan. Those are 2 games. We don't have them until we don't have another game until what, Tuesday, I think it is. So whatever. But what do we do?
Yeah, I don't think there's that. I don't think cutting the preseason would actually solve the issue. I think the issue is elsewhere. But
Adding 2 more teams.
Shut up.
There you go.
Both of you shut up.
Let's talk about some poop soup. Jack Campbell. He is the first player of this season to enter the NHLPA Player Assistance Program. And obviously, we're not going to have a lot of details
There's
about
none.
that due to privacy. But, I think on one hand, I still have like the reaction of, whoa, I wonder what's going on. But at the same time, I'm recognizing the NHLPA program, despite what's his face said about it. Scott Darling, is that his name?
I believe that's correct. Yes.
It seems like players are utilizing this outlet more, and they're finding benefit from it. So it's not always going to be a massive thing like a Valeri Nichushkin type thing. It's going to be, hey, I need some help.
Right.
And it could be quick. So
and
we'll see what happens.
And to your point, I mean, 5 players last season entered it, and prior to that, there were only 5 players in the previous 3 seasons that entered the NHLPA Players Assistance Program. So you see these guys are starting to utilize it a little bit more. It's nice that they have the ability to do that. And it just goes to show you that one person's experience isn't the same as the next guy's.
And I think another thing worth mentioning is someone entering and it coming out in the news like they have decided to enter is a big difference as opposed to, and I'm not picking on the guy, but Valeri Nichushkin is a great example. He is now in a place with that program because he wasn't upfront about issues. Maybe he was his first time going in, but he got caught. And that's kind of what you see in other leagues like the NFL, NBA, MLB even. And they got caught, and now they're forced to go into this program. Whereas guys like Jack Campbell, he's going in, and they offer help from, it's not just alcohol or drugs. It could be mental health. It could be sleeping problems.
Line used it for mental health a couple, or maybe last season, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it's designed to be utilized for even things that people would write off as, oh, that's life or whatever.
Right.
Being an NHL player is not easy.
You know,
So-
and I'm going on a little bit of a tangent here, I guess, but I did watch the first episode of that Amazon Prime series that they did,
Oh yeah.
and it shows a whole different light to what these guys deal with. I mean, you think of them as athletes, you only really see what they do when they're on the ice, when they're playing in games. You don't really see the other stuff that they have to deal with. And if you saw the first episode, you saw, how David Pastrnak was talking, how Willie Nylander was talking, the things that they did outside of the game, and it just puts it into a really awesome perspective. From what I saw, I highly recommend at least watching the first episode because it was good.
Yeah, I'm about halfway through that first episode because kids. But yeah,
Sucks for you.
It was interesting. So we do have a little bit of breaking news.
Oh, no.
Kind of segue ourselves into the NHL news. Amanda, are you there?
Yes.
The Canes have signed Skylar Brindamore to a 1-year, two-way
Who
contract.
cares?
Oh my
Did they
gosh, the
really?
bias. The bias just keeps running deep.
It's nepotism. I mean, I said that earlier in the week about Martin Brodor's son playing in goal for the Devils, but I thought that was fun. That was a good storyline.
So,
I mean,
well,
it'll be interesting to see what he can do because this isn't the first time he's tried out for the Canes, if I remember correctly, before he signed with the Charlotte Checkers? Is that Florida's
Yes.
or was
Yeah.
Florida's AHL
Yeah.
team?
Yes.
So I mean, it'll be interesting to see what he does. For 1 year. Why not?
I can hear it from Texas. My dad's the coach.
My
dad's the coach,
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
I wonder if there's ever been a player whose dad was the head coach of an NHL team that they played on the same one.
Let me
Wasn't
see.
there a dude on the Jets? Didn't oh
No,
god.
that was the interim thing. It was an assistant coach, and it was
Maybe you're
Lowry,
right.
Adam Lowry,
Yes.
David Lowry.
Yes, you're right. Yes. I don't know. I guess Amanda's gonna have to look
Amanda's
that
gonna
up.
look it up. Yeah.
Do you have it, or should we
Rivet.
keep going?
Yeah.
We're gonna keep going.
Yes, keep
All right.
going. I'm
Let us
gonna keep-
know.
Cass already stole this from me. I saw his little note in
My
the.
bad.
Yeah, I know. But Yaroslav Askarov did get sent down to the NHL. We'll just breeze over a little bit. He went to the American Hockey League affiliate of the San Jose Sharks, and he didn't play a game he didn't play a preseason game with the team. He wasn't in training camp. He's nursing an injury. I do think he's going to be playing a game in the NHL within the next month or so.
That's interesting. I didn't even know he didn't have any action at all. I thought he just sucked, and they sent him down.
I don't think he
was
sucks.
Watching the West Coast games because the West Coast is brutal. So
I don't think he sucks. I think he's going to be a good goaltender in the league. I think he's going to be a starter soon.
But-
I just don't think he's there yet.
Little bit of a signing. I'd call it minor, but Tanner Pearson signed with the Vegas Golden Knights for a 1-year deal, $775,000. He previously played with the Montreal Canadiens last season. Only put up 5 goals, 8 assists in 54 games. But I guess that's where their money's at.
it makes sense. Yeah, because they don't have to pay one of their goalies now. So we'll talk about that later, though.
Yeah. We'll talk about it. But was it Pearson who hit Drew Doughty or was part of that Drew Doughty collision? I'm pretty sure it was.
I don't recall.
They're former teammates, right?
Yeah, he used to play
Pearson won a
for the
cup with LA,
Kings.
right? Yeah.
So hey, they liked what they saw. The other one, yeah, you take it, Cass.
Yeah. So Columbus Blue Jackets have signed Kevin LeBanc to a 1-year contract with $775,000. It's a 1-year, one-way contract.
Good on him.
So, from what I read, the New Jersey Devils offered him the same contract, but they couldn't do it right away because they had to move some numbers around. And Columbus could
Oh,
offer it right away. And obviously, Columbus has to be blunt, their team sucks compared to the New Jersey Devils. So he'll probably get more playing time and he'll probably have more
right.
chance to showcase his skills. It makes sense for him to go there. A couple of years ago, Kevin LeBanc was a hot commodity on the trade market. People were when he was in San Jose when he first came up. I remember I wanted the Bruins to get him. Oh,
Do you think he'll
kind of
play?
interesting.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Do you think he'll play top 6 minutes on Columbus?
I mean, you would think, right? The top 6 is. I don't know how to spell.
That's because you're from Boston.
Boston, Baston.
Sure.
Top line is Boone Jenner, who's now injured.
Yes.
Sean Monahan, Patrick Klein, who's gone. Dmitry Vonakov, Adam Fantilli, and Yegor Chinkov. So yeah, I would say he gets a chance.
I think he'll be slotted into that second line somewhere.
Why not? Especially with Boone Jenner injured, I mean, it's his chance.
Well, yeah, and not only that, he had a really impressive preseason with the Devils. He scored 6 goals. He had a hat trick earlier this week against the Flyers. He performed pretty well, so good on him.
Good for him, making the most of his opportunities. I mean, you look at someone like Dan Heinen. They came in on the Bruins last year in a PTO. He got a contract out of it, and he just signed a 2-year deal, $3 million AAV with the Canucks. So, if you get a PTO, that's a chance to start over,
Right.
to a certain extent, if you're younger. And I'm pretty sure he is on the right side of 20, if I'm not. I think he's only
He is
26.
28.
Okay, I'll die. So,
Cool.
Either way,
Enjoyable.
he's still young. So,
I think if Brindamore had signed with the Columbus Blue Jackets, he'd be a top 6.
Yeah, that's true.
Or does he play defense? I don't know.
No, he's Amanda would. No, absolutely not.
He's a forward.
Oh, he's a forward. Okay, yeah, top 6 for Columbus. Man, what a steal by Carolina.
In other news that we don't care about.
No, we care.
We all care. The whole hockey world cares.
The Bruins still haven't done shit. So, excuse my language.
With what?
My friend.
They haven't done shit with what?
Jeremy Swayman. They
Thank
still
you.
haven't signed Jeremy Swayman to a contract. Rumors they offered him a 8-year, $62.4 million contract, which Swayman rejected. Let's go through the highest total value for a goalie contract in NHL history. Carey Price is first with $84 million. Andre Vasilevsky is second with $76 million. Sergei Bobrovsky is $70 million. Rick DiPietro is going to be getting paid until I die. He's getting $67.5 million. Sorokin, $66 million. Roberto Longo, $64 million. And then the contract that Jeremy Swayman denied would have been the 7th highest contract in NHL history for a guy who's only played 132 career games. So I understand he's trying to kind of take care of the guys coming after him with the way the salary cap is going to go up. But you do have to remember it's a small sample size, and you can't. You can pay a little bit for the years you're going to get, but you can't you can't get 10 mil. You know what I mean? I think 8 times 8.1, is all right, but I don't want to see them going 8 times 8.5.
Really?
When
that's your limit?
You got, I don't know. At the same time, it's stop being a cheap prick. It's $300K. When you're against a hard cap, it's not like the NBA where you have a luxury tax. You're on a hard cap, so you're only screwing your team when you take the extra money at that point.
Listen, you're lucky for what you've dealt with as a Bruins fan because your guys, they took pay cuts to be on that team. So it's about time you're starting to deal with this.
But at the same time, you want to keep.
No. No.
Yeah, you want to keep that culture.
You do.
You're telling me Marchand's going to take what he deserves
No,
his contract
no,
up.
but that's
I
but
think if the Bruins were taking what they deserved this whole time, you wouldn't have won the cup.
you wouldn't have won the cup. Yeah, no way.
Of course not. You know,
But
think about 2 years ago when Bergeron and Krejci came back and they were only getting paid $1 million or $2 million.
You got lucky.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
You guys got lucky with that. It's not that time is over. It's not happening again.
well, okay, here I'll play devil's advocate here.
Of course you will.
Hold on, before you go into that, I just want to say, like, it's one of those things where, like, UC Soros is an amazing goaltender. Go Preds.
Yes.
You can't really, and he just signed a contract. You can't justify making $1 million and a half over that guy who's a proven goaltender in the NHL, and that's where
Yeah.
I'm at. Basically, you have to look at other teams and other players.
So the devil's advocate side is, while yes, I agree with Jesse, the Bruins were lucky that they kept guys on the cheap, but they also built a culture that the players were willing to do it. So props to the Bruins on that front. When it comes to Swayman, as much as I would hate this if it was my team, Swayman's agent is being an agent. He recognizes the Bruins let go of the other half of their tandem, and they have to pay. And it's time to pay the piper.
Or they have Jonas Korpisalo.
I was gonna say if they go 8-2 with with good goaltending, we'll see how much they need them. As much as it sucks to say, because they're obviously better with Swayman, but if they come out of the first 15 games and they're 11-4, 10-5, and they're looking good and their goaltender is playing awesome, they hold the upper hand at that point. Jeremy Swayman holds the upper hand now. Give it till the end of the month and we'll see where we're at.
Would you be shocked if it was a bridge deal?
I just want it freaking done. I don't care. Like if it's
from like an NHL fan,
5 years times 6.8. Like I don't care. Like
I think they should go for a bridge deal. Pay it, overpay
anything's better than anything's better than what they got now, which is nothing. So
yeah. Well, but they did get Yuri Patera off.
Yeah, so they picked him up from Vancouver. He did a little bit of time with Vegas. I remember him. Could be wrong. Like the first or second year that Vegas was around, I want to say they went through like a goalie carousel where it was like Malcolm Subban.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Guys. Yep, they had like 10 goalies.
He might have played in that season. I could have totally made that up. But July 1st, the opening day of free agency, he signed a 2-year, 2-way contract with Vancouver. So, I mean, the fact that he was signed the first day of free agency, you would think he's decent and someone swooped him up right away. But then again, they put him on waivers and the Bruins picked him up. So, I don't know if this is an insurance plan in case Swayman doesn't come back. They want someone with a little bit of NHL experience, or if it's just kind of
they're preparing for the worst.
Yeah, preparing for the worst. The guy only has 8 total NHL games under his belt, so it's not like he's played 3 seasons in the NHL.
And I think if
he's no Spencer Martin, right, Amanda?
If he is a worthwhile goalie, like you said, they signed him first day free agency, yada yada yada. I think that also kind of gives us a glimpse at how Thatcher Demko's doing, because Vancouver's not going to just put a decent goalie on waivers and not think Thatcher Demko's going to be ready. So no news about it, but you can kind of read between the lines.
Speculation station.
Yeah.
Moving.
He wasn't even listed as the top 3 goalie for them. It was Thatcher Demko, Arthur
Sheetovs.
Yeah, that one. And then Nikita Tolopilo. I don't know who the hell that is. But they didn't even have him listed. And this issue of the Hockey News did come out after free agency, so he would have been listed there.
So maybe he's not as good as you're hoping.
He just sucks. I'm just hoping that this gets figured out while we're recording, so I can just take off my Preds jersey and whip it over my head like a madman.
Not gonna happen. I love your optimism, though, but we know that this is gonna go on until I say the end of November.
Yeah, it's cutting it close.
God damn it.
Utah.
No,
Yes.
Utah.
Yes.
The Utah Coyotes. They have released their name. No, just kidding. They have announced Clayton Keller as their team captain. Not Nick Schmaltz. Clayton Keller. How do you feel about that?
I like
I
it.
feel the same way.
I think it's a bridge captaincy again. I think Logan Cooley will become the captain
Eventually.
Clayton Keller's young though, right? Cooley's only like 4 years younger than him. I mean, 4 years older than him. Right?
Keller
He's a
is
young buck.
26.
What the hell?
No, that's young. I mean,
Young for
it's
a
reasonably
captain,
young, but I just don't think Utah keeps him a long time.
Really?
I don't know.
I mean, he's been with them for he was alternate captain for them for the Coyotes the past 2 seasons. He joined when did he join with them? I think it was in 2021. He had that injury that he had in 2022. I mean, but he's been playing well for then Arizona. I think that he's going to be a good leader for this team.
Yeah, I
Oh,
take
he'll
it
get
back.
better.
He's signed through 2027, 2028.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we just are now paying more attention to this team because of all the drama.
I think
That's probably it.
I think we have no choice. It's kind of like being forced down our throats, I think. But also, you want to see... I want to see how this team performs in Utah. I want to see how they're going to... I want to see if they're going to be able to come together as a team. After everything that's gone on with them, I'm hoping that they show what they've got and they make a big push because it's going to be beneficial for them as a team, for them as an organization, and for the city of Salt Lake City. So I'm hopeful for them.
I'm jealous of the concession prices.
No, we'll get there. We'll get there. I have something for that.
It's not on the list. I wanted to bring it up. You know
No, I was going to talk about it when we break down the Central.
Before we move on from this, the Seattle Kraken are now the only team in the NHL without a captain. So get on it, Seattle. What are we waiting for?
Now, I did see something. I saw something on like NHL's website. They had a captain listed.
Yeah, Clayton Keller.
Yeah, I think it was wrong. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it was a misprint.
Hey, he could be a captain for 2 people.
Imagine. Kat says she's unhopeful. I know you are because you're a Yotes fan.
Well, just stay tuned because we're gonna break down the division. I think there's a little more hope to be had.
Jesse, getting back to the Kraken, who do you want them to name as captain when they do, if they ever do?
Bernier.
No, I don't think he's ready yet. I would say probably Adam Larson. I think he would be a good choice for the captaincy in Seattle.
What about Montour?
Montour just got there. I don't
He's
like
signed through 2030.
Yeah, I know. But he just got there. I don't think he's ready to be a leader in that room.
You almost never see that. Like Char's the last guy I can think of who signed and they immediately gave him the C. But that's just what I can think. I think they should bring back Giordano and give him
Shut up.
one more season.
Shut up. Alan says
How do you like that, Alan? Huh?
Dan Bilsma just joined the team too, but he's got some leadership, right?
Well, he's the head coach, so yes. Alan in our chat says either Jordan Eberle, Jared McCann, or Adam Larson. I like those choices. I'd give it to Larson, though.
All of which have not won a cup.
Alan, why don't you just name the rest of the roster while you're at it?
Montour.
Moving on from captains, Connor Geeky of the Tampa Bay Lightning was suspended for 1 preseason game on Thursday over his role in a fight during a preseason game with the Florida Panthers. He he did break Rule 70.2, which states that he left the bench on a legal line change for the purpose of starting an altercation. So this incident happened in a 2-1 overtime win for the Tampa Bay Lightning after Florida prospect Josh Davies struck Lightning captain Victor Hedman with an open ice hit. Tampa Bay star Nikita Kucherov retaliated against Davies and received a 2-minute roughing penalty. On the next line change, Geeky came onto the ice, went after Davies, dragged him into a fight, and racked up 19 penalty minutes on that play. 2 for cross-checking, 2 for instigating, 5 for fighting, and a 10-minute misconduct. Did you see this? Did you guys see this?
I didn't, but I'm wondering if this is setting a precedent.
I don't think that this
I
is.
saw the hit.
You saw.
I only saw the hit on Hedman, and I saw Nikita Kucherov go after him, which was
Right.
good to see, obviously.
Well,
But I didn't see Geeky do anything.
He jumped on onto the ice for a line change and then immediately barred up with Davies. So I think that's where the issue is. You know, the rule states that you can't do that for the sole intention of starting an altercation, which it seems like that's what he did. It looked like he targeted him.
But how do you prove that that was their intention and not that they were just making a change?
This is what the department
was behind his goalie, and he went on the other side.
This is what the Department of Player Safety said in their video. Quote, "It is important to note that Geeky's sole objective on this play is to confront Davies. Rather than making any move at all towards the play or the direction of the puck, Geeky instead comes directly off the bench for the purposes of instigating this altercation, then pursues Davies for an extended amount of time while forcing Davies into said altercation." So it seems like he didn't try to make a play on the puck. He didn't attempt to move towards the play at all. He jumped onto the ice and went after Davies.
I just don't like the rule, I think. Because it's hard to prove if that's what their actual intent is. Also, what happens if a player leaves the bench on an illegal line change for the purpose of
that's worse. I think that has happened
that would
before.
Be worse, but why at that point just give a penalty for whatever altercation happens on the ice? Because at that point, once they make the legal line change, you address it like they're playing hockey, right?
I think
you put them in the box.
I think at this point, players are going to be smart on this rule. If as Cass says, it's setting a precedent. All you got to do is skate towards the puck and then turn around and go after the guy you want to beat the shit out of.
Yeah. Gosh. And that's not the only crappy thing that happened. Robin Lehner.
Oh, Robin Lehner. Yes.
You want to talk about it?
So it was announced earlier this week that the Golden Knights will pay goaltender Robin Lehner for the final year of his $25 million contract. However, but there's a large, gigantic, fat butt there. It will not count against Vegas's salary cap. So the resolution was reached on Thursday after lengthy discussions with the NHL and the NHLPA. Lehner is owed $4.4 million this season to complete his 5-year contract, so this is the final year of his contract. He did not report to training camp for a mandatory physical. That was announced earlier in the summer. It's required under the collective bargaining agreement for players on LTIR to show up for this mandatory physical. But sources told ESPN there was a specific reason the goalie could not be in Vegas, which the team, the league, and the Players Association were all aware of. Given the sensitive nature of Lehner's situation, league sources called it an unprecedented and highly unique case, which is why they're going to allow him to be paid, but not have his salary go against the cap. Over the cap.
Okay, this is very layered. On one hand, because of his history, I think the league is doing him a disservice by supplying him more money. He clearly has issues in his life, addiction issues, most likely based on his history. I don't know, though. I don't know. I think I don't know why. I can't wrap my head around it. And it's not from the perspective of, oh, I think they're going to try and play him this season. I don't think he touches the ice.
No, he won't.
It's not like a Mark Stone LTIR loophole. It's nothing like that. It's just, I think it's hard to speculate. I wish they weren't paying him hundreds of thousands of dollars
millions
while he's
Millions.
still not
He's
recovered.
bankrupt too. He's in bankruptcy court.
Yeah, because he's spending his money on things he shouldn't be spending his money on, most likely.
Snake farms. Snake farms.
Everyone needs a snake farm. Leonard's last game in the NHL was in April of 2022, so over 2 years ago. He did undergo hip surgery in the summer of 22, rehabbed away from the team after that. But I understand wanting to pay this guy. He's in a contract. It is what it is. My
From a legal
issue,
standpoint,
yes, my issue is that it's not going to count towards the cap, and that they don't have to put him on LTIR to go around that cap situation. I think that's where my problem comes from. Why are you just going to waive it for them? These guys have been, as the joke has stood for years, over the cap multiple times towards the end of the season, and then brought guys back who have large contracts, large sums of money being paid to them. Why are you going to give this to them and on a silver platter, or a golden platter, if you will? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
The example of the reason you do this kind of loophole is Johnny Gaudreau and Columbus.
Right.
That's when it's okay.
Right. Agreed.
This is not. Sorry.
See, the thing. No, it's all good. I'm trying to remember what I was. The thing that I don't get is like, you see the NHL with Corey Perry, with Ryan Johansson. Like, if you break your contract, see you the hell later. Adios. And Robin Lettner does not show up for training camp for his physical, and he gets a free pass. Like, this
Agreed.
is total BS. This is ridiculous. And if I'm not mistaken, like a year or two ago, he was basically saying, I'm okay to play, I'm healthy, and they're putting me on LTIR just to put me on LTIR.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
That was a thing, right?
Yeah.
So, like, there's obviously history here. It's obvious that Vegas moved on from him 2 years ago, and every single flipping year, they're just finding a way to hide his money. And this is, it just doesn't make it, I don't get how it's like charity at this point. Just here's $5 million to shut your friggin' mouth. Don't say a word and just go away. Just go the hell away with your.
But it seems like
it's done.
And I think we can be upset about Vegas and the loopholes over and over and over again. But ultimately, it comes down to the GMs. Like, if there was something to happen, the GMs need to all come together and be like, whoa, that's not fair. Like, that's.
But at the same time, they would probably cut out of this. I mean, this was decided between the NHL and the NHLPA in Vegas. It wasn't put in front of the Board of Governors, as far as I know. For like the Johnny Gaudreau thing was brought in front of the Board of Governors, and they say, hey, you don't have to reach the salary cap floor until within a reasonable time. I think they said.
Yes.
And this wasn't a thing that was brought to them. This was done back alley, back door, Apparently,
and people say the mafia.
Have a picture of Bettman in a dress.
The mafia doesn't run Vegas.
Yeah, Sin City, my ass.
Cat,
I think it's terrible.
Cat in our chat says, "Who does the Vegas owner have dirty pics of?" Oh,
all of us.
All of us. Every single one of us.
But really, I think it's hurting Leonard more than anyone, in my opinion. This is where the NHL Players Assistance Program kind of has a dirty look. I was praising them earlier, but something's wrong. Something's wrong. He's bankrupt. He's still getting paid money. He's still having issues in life.
But just like anything else, you can't force him to go get help either. You know what I mean? So I don't know if this is necessarily
But you don't have to keep paying him. You don't have to keep paying him money to supply his addictions.
Where the union's involved, the union's going to back the player no matter what kind of problems there is. If they feel the players own the money, that they're going to fight for that money. A. B, a portion of that money goes back to the players' assistance, to the players' fund, so they want their cut of the pie too. So it's all money driven to a certain point. I think we can all agree it's bullshit.
Yeah, and I think it the Flyers, they were able to terminate Ryan Johansson for very minimal information. Whatever it was like a data breach or whatever.
Breach of contract.
Yeah, but the
breach of
NHLPA is filing a grievance on that. So
They are,
they're not in
but
bed with that one, but they're in bed with this one. It's just sketchy.
but at least there was like a process where we hear, okay, they're trying to terminate this contract, and now the NHLPA is going to try and fight it. Whereas Vegas, they skip that step. They skip all the steps, and
There's like, here you go,
okay.
Bye, have fun.
We could probably go on and on whining about Vegas.
And I'm sure we will multiple times throughout this season. I'm sure we will.
Speaking about teams we don't care about, Amanda, you awake?
Yes.
Did you find
Oh,
out that
yeah.
info? What were you looking up?
I
Oh,
went-
head
Sun.
coaches.
yes, which I did have an answer. So far, there have been 6 of those cases of Suns coaching, like head coach, not counting assistant coaches, of head coaches coaching their son. So the Brenda Moore pairing, if Skylar actually plays in the NHL level, they would be the 7th pair
Oh,
in the league.
Anyone notable?
Kevin Deneen and his dad Bill.
do you
That doesn't
think?
sound familiar?
Do you think that if Skylar gets onto the bench for the Hurricanes and he messes up, that Rod's gonna go over there and smack him on the back of his head?
Please, oh my god, that'd be hilarious.
That would be
and I wanna
great.
be at that game so bad.
That would be great.
But as far as the Canes, thank you for that wonderful introduction, Cass. The western part of North Carolina was hit pretty severely from Hurricane Helene that came through last week. The Canes, on their Wednesday night game, offered all the tickets that were sold the proceeds would be given to Western North Carolina. They ended up selling out that preseason game. So you're talking 18,000, almost 19,000 fans in the arena for just a preseason game.
Wow.
Yeah, which is pretty amazing. They also were running different auctions. You could bid to win what was it? Oh, lunch or dinner with Rod Brendamore.
Terrible
And-
prize.
And son, probably.
Tyler won, yeah.
Dinner with like 3 different players.
Oh wow.
You could travel with the team for a game, like on their chartered jet. The last I saw that was going.
Oh, that's it.
How much was that
going
one?
for like 13,000 was the last I saw.
That's actually pretty cheap, I feel.
I was gonna say, geez, the plane ride alone, they're probably bringing you to like Florida, like the closest city, Washington D.C. You know,
It's a
what I mean?
30-minute
It's a
flight.
45-minute flight. Yeah.
Good on them
Shut off
though.
the cell phone.
Good on them.
And then as of Thursday, the total had reached over $300,000
Oh, wow.
that were raised. And they will be continuing to do things throughout the season too. This is not just like a one-time thing that the Canes are doing. The like official Hurricanes alum group also had a bunch of stuff going on. They were collecting items to send over. So like there's just been a lot of really good impact that they're making for everyone out west.
That's really good.
Yeah, and from what I've seen on social media, those guys need. It's unfortunate. I don't want to get too into it. It's unfortunate they're not getting the help that they need, and it's nice to see that the Carolina Hurricanes are doing what they feel like they need to do to help that state. Because if you've seen it, it's not good over there right now. So all the help they can get, especially
This
from
might be
our government.
This might be the one time Ethan doesn't shit on North Carolina because he's just too guilty. So this is good.
I haven't really spent much time in that part of North Carolina, so I can't.
Amanda, is that the better or worse part of North Carolina?
It's the better. I could just tell you
It's
now.
a beautiful, absolutely beautiful area, but you're talking about areas that like now no longer exist,
Right.
basically, because of all of this. But it's really beautiful out there. There's just a lot of rural areas that need a lot of help. And so it's great that the Canes and the alumni are getting all of this together for people out there.
Well,
Not
if I'm
trying
not
to take it.
mistaken, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask really quick. Do you know if the Panthers, that's your other main team in the area, right? Are they in
Uh,
the Raleigh area?
no, they are out there by Charlotte, like the Carolina
Oh,
Panthers. So
are
yeah, so
they
they
doing anything?
uh
That's a
let
good
me
question.
Trying
Go
to
ahead,
win,
Cass. What
trying
were
to
you gonna
win
say?
one game. No. Uh, I was gonna ask Amanda. Like, I thought, if I'm not mistaken, weren't like major roadways like screwed up and
Yes. Yes.
like
Oh,
they can't get supplies. Like
Yes.
I don't watch the news because it's all freaking negative now. Like any kind of news I get is from social media. But like
Which is worse, I
especially
think.
with, like the I know, but with the Baltimore port still closed from that bridge collapsing, and now that must be detrimental. And the
uh,
longshoremen union strike, like this must be screwing
That
everything up in
ended
that area, huh?
yeah, it
Did it?
is. It's like literal roads
for
have
now.
been washed away. I
They're
saw
calling
one.
it worse, like the worst since Katrina.
Yes.
I did hear that.
Yeah. Oh, and looking at the pictures, it's very easy to see
Bad man.
why it's not where you would expect this type of devastation to occur when you're talking a
Like Katrina.
hurricane. Yeah. Um, but like it's bad enough that like instead like there's ATV they're using ATVs like private helicopters. The other one that they're using, which just like tickles me for whatever reason, like they are using like literal mules, like making a caravan of mules to carry items to people who need them. Like
Well,
um but Ethan, to answer your question real fast, the Carolina Panthers, um like their foundation and all of that have donated about $3 million.
Wow. Good.
oh wow.
Awesome.
There you go.
Um,
NFL money.
NFL
yes,
money for
across the
sure.
Carolinas
But
and the Charlotte Football Club.
props to the Hurricanes.
Both sports
I
teams.
boy, the irony. Um, the one time the Hurricanes name comes in clutch. Um, props to them because you don't have to do that. That is that's giving away part of your income as a
Right.
team. And while it might not be as much as the Panthers in the NFL, it's a big gesture, and I'm sure there will be more. Don't be shocked if you hear that the Hurricanes are doing more throughout the season.
Right.
Oh
For
yeah,
sure.
that's their plan.
Moving on from that, this is a little bit more lighthearted, thankfully. But Marc-Andre Fleury had a little bit of fun in a game that I need to find my notes for. He was. We'll just cut to the video. Yeah, let's do that. So the Minnesota Wild goalie joined the ice crew during the first period of a 7-2 preseason win against the Chicago Blackhawks. Fleury did not dress for the game, but he donned a wig, glasses, fake mustache, and backwards Minnesota Wild hat as he shoveled ice during a TV timeout. We know that Marc-Andre Fleury is known for his antics off the ice, so this is always fun to see when he does things like this. He skated by the Wild bench, and he said, "Come on, boys, let's get this going." So they didn't even know that it was him. They just thought it was some guy on the ice talking crap about them. Fleury said Wednesday that he was just looking for things to do, and he got a little bit of a dare, I guess. I found the wig and mustache in my basement at home and figured that it might be enough to go incognito. So that's fun.
And it was good enough. You'd think when he screams at his teammates, they'd be like, "Oh," but I guess not.
Like they would notice that it was his voice or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, you sound very French Canadian. And I haven't seen Marc-Andre Fleury tonight, so yeah.
Well, he wasn't dressed for the game, but he was just trying to have some fun, which it seems like he enjoys doing a lot. He's always doing something crazy like that. I think he get someone's car in like toilet paper last season or something like that. Oh, flowers. It was all flowers.
All over it.
So
And to Duhaime, right?
yes, that's right. Fun seeing things like that.
And it makes you hate Vegas more. Makes you hate Vegas more.
How could you
One
do
thing
that to him? He is a saint.
I want to interject real quick before Cass, you go on to the next point. We talked last season about NHL 24 or 23 at the time giveaway We are still giving that away. So just stay tuned, share the podcast. In order to win the prize, you have to be following our page, share our podcast, like, comment, the whole shebang. We're going to be giving that away pretty soon by the end of the month.
Yes, let's do it.
And it will be the new NHL. NHL 25? Is that
Yes.
the new one?
Yes, it is.
I stopped after 22, I think.
I'm just really
Alright,
bad
guys.
at those games.
Sorry.
I'm garbage. I think I went like in the last one I was like 8-33 and I stopped playing.
Online, yeah, it's brutal. You got all these like
Sorry, just like
13-year-olds that are
instinct.
like kicking the shit out of you.
Bro,
You're
it's
just like, I'm a loser.
it's like playing Rocket League too. I'm too old for this
It's
shit.
good.
I can't be
Yeah,
doing this.
Yep.
It's embarrassing,
Oh,
quite
new Call of
frankly.
Duty's out.
No,
Okay, anyway,
no.
I'm not gonna even bother.
No. Give me any single player game, please.
Yes, please. Last of Us, 100%. Arbor Jack guy, you got a video of this?
I
Jesse?
do.
Yeah. There was a very controversial hit by Wi-Fi on Tim Stutzel. This past week during a preseason game. We're gonna pull up the video right now and have you take a look, and we'll talk about it a little bit. And he's already down.
Did
in
you?
typical Brady Kachuk fashion? Going right after.
I thought it was a little ridiculous that Kachuk had to even be the guy to do that, honestly. But I mean, he's the captain for a reason, I guess. Here's the hit right here. I think that's interference. I think there's nothing more to that than interference, honestly. And if you look, I have a closer view here. His stick makes contact with his head. So I don't really think that this was much of anything. The injury was from his own stick. You could argue that he shouldn't have made that hit, sure, but I don't think this was a dirty hit or anything like that.
No, I don't think so either.
He didn't get suspended. It looks worse than it is.
Right.
You know?
I think Kachuk's in the wrong more than anything.
Oh, absolutely not. No way.
Yeah, I don't
You
think
defend
so.
your player. You don't give a shit. You know. You see
What?
a hit, especially real time. You see a hit like that, you don't know when it's Arbor Jack guy. It's not like it's freaking, Patrice Bergeron. It's a player who's known to play tough physical hockey.
Right.
If you see a hit like the guy go down and his helmet go flying, you don't know what happened.
Right.
You're not gonna wait to see the replay, and then the next shift get him. You're gonna get him and then deal with it after.
Wait, play
Plus,
it one more
your
time.
team's not gonna. Plus, your team's not gonna make the playoffs. So who cares?
Sorry, this is really just for me. I'm sorry, guys.
How dare you? Here, we're going to do it again. There we go. Oh, it didn't restart. But I don't really...
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't really think that this was much of anything. In fast, real-life speed, yes, it looks pretty bad. But when you slow it down, you could see what happened. And I don't blame Kachuk for acting like that, but I guess I get where you're coming from too, Ethan. See, in
If
real...
this happened to Logan Stankov and Jamie Benn would be all over someone.
No, sorry. Okay. I thought it was Kachuk who was part of the hit, not Stutzel. I think Stutzel's in the wrong more than anything.
Why?
Wrong what? Getting his head caved in? Like not having a stick?
But it was his own stick.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it was
and
from the hit.
Making a hit.
He passed the puck and then got hit.
Yeah,
Okay.
The thing you have to remember, though, which might have factored into the not suspension, I don't think it happened in this play. Stutzel is known for diving and over elaborating, and he's gotten quite a few embellishment fines and penalties, if I'm not mistaken. He already has that reputation.
I don't think it was a dirty hit, and I think everyone should have just gone back to their bench.
I don't think it was dirty, and I don't think it was a dive either. I mean, you could see what happened.
I don't think so either. I'm just saying.
I get where you're coming from. You know, arguing from both sides. It makes sense, but I understand why the NHL player safety, Department of Player Safety, didn't look into this. It makes sense when you slow it down. Speed, obviously, the game is so fast, you could see things happening in a blink of an eye, and it looked bad, but it was his own stick that hit him.
Yeah. I mean, you figure two Canadian teams who are going to play each other a lot. Like Kat said, you can't let Wi-Fi run your players and let him get away with it for nothing. You have to show him you're not afraid of him and all that kind of stuff. Shane, I mean, I don't even blame Stutzel for not keeping his head up. Like that was so bang bang. You can't really do anything there.
Sure.
So.
That's where I wish the high stick thing. Sorry, the high stick review. They talked about that, but I don't think it happened. We're going to talk about Board of Governors update later, but
right now,
the whole thing. One of the things was the high stick. You could review it, make sure it's not your own stick getting called.
I don't know where that ended up, but I didn't see that in my notes for the Board of Governors either. So would have been nice.
If it did pass, it already would have been a rule change, and it would have been discussed at this Board of Governors. It would have been at last year's.
Speaking of Board of Governors, we're going to go over the meeting that they had earlier this week just a bit. Gary Bettman advised NHL owners that talks regarding the new collective bargaining agreement with the NHL Players Association are set to begin in the new year. The current CBA expires in September of 2026, so they're looking to get an early jump on that. The NHL commissioner said, I don't want to speculate, but if we had it done by my media avail at the Stanley Cup final, everybody would be very happy. So he's hoping to have it done when the Stanley Cup is presented next year. He continued to say, but that's not a discussion in terms of a timetable that I've had with Marty Walsh, the NHLPA executive director, so I don't want to put any unfair or undiscussed parameters on it. The indication we're getting is that the NHLPA is just as eager as the league to commence the CBA extension dialogue. They want to get this done as well. We don't want a 2004-2005 situation that canceled the entire season, or a 2012-13 lockout that wiped out half of the season that year.
That would be so detrimental.
Sucks. That would suck, especially with the salary cap hopefully going up.
That'd be the most lockouts of all pro, like within a time frame.
That's former Boston Mayor Marty Walsh to you. Okay.
Sure, yes. Speaking of the salary cap, Gary Bettman provided owners with an update on this as well. He said, quote, it is way preliminary, so don't even take this anywhere with much meaning, but it is... but it's probably 92.5 million, give or take, but it is really too early for that to be a story. So, speculation, hopeful, $92.5 million next year, but don't quote me on it.
Over, under. What do y'all think?
I think it's going to be at. I think it's going to be right at.
I think it's, yeah. I think it's going to be $4 million a year for the next however many years. Like Swayman's contract.
So wouldn't that be 93? That 90.
Is that 88 and a half right now, right?
Yes, I think so.
It wasn't 89. Yeah.
I think 4 million a year makes sense. I think 92.5 is going to be reasonable, and I'm hopeful that that's going to happen.
I think it might be more.
We'll see. We'll see.
And the reason I say it is because the cap is designated by revenue. You've got a team going from Mullet Arena to Salt Lake City that has sold out their season tickets. Even though everyone knows that there's limited viewing in not a majority, but a big part of the seating, people are still going. They're going to sell out games. The revenue from that team, I think, is going to make a big difference.
They're going to lose revenue on the hot dogs and popcorn because they're not selling.
We're going to get there, guys.
I think it's going to go up substantially when they add 2 expansion teams for $1.25 billion each.
Shut up.
Yeah, it's going to happen, Jesse. You just have to accept it.
Yeah. It's good for the league.
They'll come around to it. That's why that Seattle flag's hanging in the background.
Yeah. Don't you want your 2 favorite teams, New York and Seattle, not Nashville, to have more money to spend?
It's going to impact how often these teams are playing each other, and that's my problem with it. Unless they're going to be adding more games, I mean, it's going to ruin the division games, the in-division, in-conference games. Or you're just not going to have some teams coming over here.
Yes, you get to go on a tangent, so I'm going to go on a tangent real quick. with the cap going up and with everything going on, and with the talks of possible expansions, do you think GMs are paying more attention to the no movement, no trade clauses that they're giving out and stuff like that, because they have to protect a player if they have certain movement clauses? Like if you have a no movement clause, you cannot. You have to be protected in an expansion draft
Is this
unless you waive it.
is this believing Bettman when he says we're not looking at expanding, or is that
It-
based on the assumption they are expanding?
This is the same Bettman who said Utah was not considered a serious team, and then
Yeah,
a month
yeah.
later he put him. Yeah, that one. Yeah, he's bullshit. Yeah.
No.
I think they are.
So,
But I think they look at it at such a detailed level that it's not even about that
I'm
necessarily.
just saying,
But
I wouldn't be surprised if they're starting to think about it already. You know,
I would.
just a shower thought while I'm not in the shower. You know. So,
Thank God.
let's talk about the worst division in hockey real quick. So,
Sure.
yeah, why not?
We're talking
We'll start
Atlantic
with-
Division.
No, we're not. They won the cup,
Oh.
so suck it. We're gonna talk about the Central Division.
Yes, we are.
Let's go, Preds.
Probably home to two out of the best logos in the whole NHL. Anyway,
Which two?
we're gonna start with. I like the Wild and I like the Preds.
I could agree with
They're
that.
up there for me. They're up there. Who
It's
cares
not easy
about
being on this hill.
a D with 5 points on it? No one gives a shit. Anyway, speaking about the D, we're gonna start with the Dallas Stars. They added Colin Blackwell, Matt Dumba, Ilya Lyubushkin, Brendan Smith, and Casey DeSmith backing up Jake Ottinger. They said goodbye to Chris Tanev, Joe Pavelski. They wasted his whole career, didn't win him a cup. Ryan Suter, they're buying him out too. They didn't learn from the first mistake, so they figured we'll give him some free money too. Radek Faska, Craig Smith, Ty Dellandrea, Johnny Hockenpah, and Scott Wedgwood. Look at that. I nailed all those. So we don't want to hear Ethan's opinion on this because he's going to be
Faksa.
long-winded. We're going to go
Faksa was the one.
right to Jesse. Jesse,
Yes.
how do you think Stankoven's going to do this year?
I liked the way he looked last season, especially in the playoffs. I thought that he looked really, really good. I think that he's going to be a much better player for the Dallas Stars this season. Much better.
Does he win the Calder Trophy?
Up
Look at the
against
screen. I have your answer.
guys like Celebrini, I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh my god.
Ethan, you putting money on that?
Uh,
Not with me. Just like on a sports betting app in general.
I'll take that.
Just curious.
yeah. What are the odds on it? I would take it.
I can look it up real quick.
I genuinely think he has a good shot at winning it.
He'll be second.
Does Maverick Bork make it out of training camp? Is he on opening night roster?
I believe they designated him to AHL because they made cuts today. I think it was.
Okay.
But I think you see him come up pretty soon.
Kat says there needs to be a bet here. So I give you $20 that he's not the winner.
Right now.
He's not the Calder Cup winner. $20.
What
I can buy
about
you.
what
buy
about we
popcorn
do
at
the hat?
Pizza.
We do the hat thing
Okay.
like Cass and Amanda has. So you get a Dallas Stars hat
Do I have to?
if he wins. Only if he wins.
Make
And
your own version of the bet.
I will.
He just doesn't want to lose money.
I'll get a New York Rangers hat.
How about this? I will buy you your choice of Dallas Stars hat if you win, and you buy me a Rangers hat if I win. How's that?
Money limit.
Within
yeah.
within
We don't
within
need a-
$25.
Okay.
You'd prefer the new hat rather than seeing
Yes.
me wear.
I don't.
Okay,
I also
alright.
don't want a Dallas Stars hat. So.
Okay, fair. So
Well,
that's
you
a
could,
deal.
you could,
Oh.
Jesse, you could wear the Dallas Star hat and then send it to Ethan, so you don't keep it.
He doesn't want my head lice.
See, when I had to wear a Panthers hat, I returned it back to Amazon
Smart.
after I was done. So Ethan, why don't you give us a quick Dallas Stars minute, seeing you need to?
Yeah, I think they did not get worse. I think they somehow got better because of the spots opening up. You're going to see younger talent come in while also keeping their main core that made them good last year. Joe Pavelski, while Cass claims Dallas wasted his career, he did spend most of it with San Jose, and he fell off. The age caught up with him this last season, so that spot opens up. While I wish he still was playing, great guy. It opens spots up for young guys. And as far as defense, I think we got better. We lost Tanev, but I think we gained a lot more physicality, which if you're a Dallas fan, if you've been in Dallas social media groups or whatever, that's been the one thing we've asked for almost 2 years, or I'm sorry, 2 decades, 20 years. More physicality, more physicality, more physicality. And you got it with Dumba.
I like Dumba on the back end for you guys.
You think you're gonna miss Dellandrea?
No, I hated Dellandrea.
Oh, interesting. Calder Trophy odds per source I'm not gonna name because they don't sponsor us.
Thank you.
Matvey Michkov plus 300. Macklin Celebrini plus 500. Logan Stankoven plus 600. Lane Hudson plus 650. Cutter Gauthier plus 1100. And the rest no one cares. Askarov plus 2500.
If Michkov wins, I'm gonna be so mad.
Yeah, because you're gonna owe me a hat.
No, okay, that, but also Jason Robertson, he lost out on the Calder to Kaprizov. And Kaprizov, he wasn't a rookie. He's played pro hockey in the KHL just like Michkov. I'd be really upset.
The problem with Kaprizov was he was almost overage, if I'm not mistaken. Matt K. Mitchoff is only like an 18-year-old. Like when Kaprizov won it, I think he was like, he just missed the overage thing by like a month or a half or something like that.
I would say Michkov has the better shot than what's his face? Celebrini.
I don't know though, like with Celebrini, but like Michkov compared to like Stankoven. Stankoven's numbers are going to be inflated because he's playing with a better team. He's going to have better numbers than Michkov probably, but then again, if he gets buried in the lineup, yeah. So
Michkov's going to score. He's going to be a top performer for that team, you know. But long story short, for the Stars, I think they got slightly better.
Do you think that Nils Lundkvist is going to be a mainstay in the lineup? No? Good. Yeah, I don't think so. I didn't like him for you guys last season. I hope they get rid of him.
Bischel is a guy to keep your eye out for, especially if you play fantasy hockey.
He's listed here.
Keep your eye out for him because he's going to be making an appearance, and he will. I'm shocked they sent him to the AHL. I thought he'd stay, but there's only so many spots. So
Maverick Bork is also listed at plus 3,000 in case you want to really waste your money.
No, yeah.
Okay.
I don't gamble.
Let's move
with
on
them.
to the team who got second place last year in the Central Division. That would be the Winnipeg Jets. They basically did nothing in free agency. They added Hayden Fleury, and they added Eric Comrie and Kaapo Kähkönen. They said goodbye to Sean
for one day.
Yes. They said adios to Sean Monahan, Brendan Dillon, Tyler Toffoli, Laurent Brossoit, and Nate Schmidt. They bought Nate Schmidt out. Ethan, does this team scare you as much as it did last year?
This team typically just doesn't scare me. I think they got better, not from those names you just read, but because Rick Bowness is not their head coach. No, and I'm not saying that as like my usual dig against Bones, but their interim coach, who I believe they made their head coach.
Their head coach, yep.
He did a great job with them when he took over.
I like Scott Arniel. He is he was an associate coach for the Rangers, and I'm familiar with how he coaches. I liked him, so I think that this is going to be a good opportunity for them. But I think they lost some guys that were going to help them. So I don't know. I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last season.
So, devil's advocate, our Neil has spent the last 11 years in associate and assistant roles, and his last bench boss appearance was disappointing. He went 45, 16, 18, and 123 games with Columbus. So,
that's
he's got a lot to
Columbus.
prove, kind of like Bruce Cassidy does. So, it'll be interesting what happens there.
I don't think Hellebuyck plays as well this season.
I agree with that.
Ethan,
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
No. I was literally going to be like, Ethan, you think Connor Hellebuyck is going to continue sucking like he did in the playoffs, or you think you're going to see a bounce back from him?
No.
Let's pretend he didn't say anything.
I don't think he'll be nominated for the Vezina this year.
Oh, yeah, I don't think so either.
No, I think there's too many good goalies in the league.
But I mean, like his numbers wouldn't be good for it.
So,
either.
I mean,
I think he digresses.
You lost Brendan Dillon, who is a good stay-at-home physical defenseman. And I know he got bought out, but you did lose Nate Schmidt, who also is a big body back there. So, I mean, when you lose 2 of your 6 defensemen, I don't care who you are, especially when you didn't really add anyone. It's going to affect you negatively. I mean, Josh Morrissey, Dylan DeMello, Neil Pionk, Dylan Sandberg, Colin Miller, and Ville Heinola, and Logan Stanley and Hayden Fleury are the extras. That's not a, oh my gosh, that defense amazing. You know,
it's not a scary blue line at all.
No. So
Kat did ask, but will Hellebuyck continue to play his best hockey ever? And I think that happened a few years ago.
Hot take. I think Hellebuyck is not going to have a good year, and I think he might even get left off of the Four Nations face-off.
Ooh.
It all depends on Thatcher Demko.
Or Swayman.
Yeah.
Thanks for the reminder. Now you made him cry.
Central Division. Go Preds. Anyway, we're going to move right along to the Colorado Avalanche. They added basically nothing. A couple defensemen. Oliver Killington, right?
Killington.
Isn't it like a weird?
Yes.
Yeah, that's dumb. Eric Branson, Calvin DeHaan. They said goodbye to Sean Walker. Zach Parise retired. Andrew Cogliano retired. Jack Johnson. Brandon Duhaime. Yakov Trenin. And Ivan Prostov. I think the backup goalie retired too, right? Francois, right?
That was last
Did he
season, I believe.
retire?
That was last season.
Was it? I thought it was during. Okay, either way. So we still don't know what's going on with Gabriel Landeskog. We still don't know what's going on with Valerie Nichushkin. I think we can all agree they still have McKinnon, they still have Rantanen, they still have Makar and Taves. But are they better or worse than they were last year, Jesse?
I think they're the same. I don't really see them moving down in any regard, but I do think that I do think that they're going to be more of what we've seen with guys, like McKinnon, like Rantanen, like you said. I don't think that they're going to lose the steam that they have, but I don't think they're going to make a deep playoff run.
Amanda, how do you feel about this team? Do they scare you at all? Do you think they have Casey Middlestat as their second line center still? You think he's going to be a ample replacement for Nazem Kadri, who's been gone for a couple years that they've been trying to replace?
Circle back to me in a minute. I've got a sick kid I am dealing with.
Okay, have fun cleaning up the puke. Ethan, how do you feel about that? You think Middlestat can fill in that 2C role?
No. What?
This is classic Ethan. He's like, no,
but
devil's advocate on myself. Let me tell you, he might if his 2 legs work this year. But what?
I think it's going to be this seems like a cop-out answer, but I think if it doesn't work by December 1st, it will not work. If they click, I think it'll work. But
what?
December 1st. By December 1st.
Okay.
Right? What?
Sure. What the fuck did you just say?
Do they trade for another center if this doesn't work out?
No. They can't. I don't think they have any space because if Nichushkin comes back, and again, there's no news on it, but his expected return date is November 15th.
But they won't have enough money for anybody.
They
don't have enough money now.
for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't have any room. So it better work.
I think it's going to work.
Okay.
I liked Middlestat in Buffalo. I thought he was great for that team, despite what has happened with Buffalo. I think it's going to work for the Avalanche with him.
If he can gel.
I think he'll gel. That team makes everybody good. The whole team is just really good at making people work. I think they'll make it work.
Ryan Johansson.
Zach Parise was old.
This is one of those trades, the Byram for Middlestat trade, that'll be kind of fun to look back on in 5 years and be like, oh, either Colorado or Buffalo, whoever won, it'll be interesting to talk about once it happens in a couple of years, once they play.
What do you think, Cass? Do you think they got better? Better, worse? Same?
I mean, I think they're going to move up in the division from where they were last year just because Winnipeg got worse. And the Nashville Predators got better. But they're still a playoff team. They're still going to be hard out in the playoffs. I mean,
yeah.
When you're basically eating chickpea soup for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, Nathan McKinnon's going to make you pay. So,
yep.
But we're going to move on to the Predators.
Yeah, Nashville.
Yeah.
Ethan sucks.
Ethan sucks. Go. Boom, boom, boom. Close enough. Anyway, so they added former captain of the Tampa Bay Lightning, 2-time or 3-time, I forget, Stanley Cup champion Steven Stamkos to their roster. They added Stanley Cup champion Jonathan Marchessault to their roster. They added former Carolina Hurricane Brady Shea. And they got the better backup goalie, Scott Wedgwood, from the lowly Dallas Stars. They said goodbye to Ryan McDonough. They traded him back to Tampa. They had enough of his shit. Tyson Barrie, Kiefer Sherwood, Dennis Gurianov, and Anthony Bolivia.
Gurianov, I believe, did go to the KHL.
What did I say? I
said you said those are losses. Sorry, keep going.
Is that the only name out of all those you thought was an ad?
No.
Do you think they added Ryan McDonough?
Gurianov he's bounced around so much.
Jeez. And they said goodbye to Kevin Lankinen. So, Jesse, as the avid Nashville Predators fan on this podcast.
Me?
Will Philip Forsberg have over or under? Let's see if I can find it real quick. Forsberg. He had 48 goals last year. Holy damn.
Sounds about right, yeah.
46 assists for 94 points. Will he have over 100 points this year?
I think he will be at 106 points this season.
Dang. Interesting. How does this team make you feel?
I really like the moves that they made in the offseason. Acquiring Steven Stamkos was a big deal. Jonathan Marchessault, these guys have the pedigree to win Stanley Cups. I think that this team is going to be much better than they were last season. I like the guys that they have on this roster. I love UC Saros. I like Brady Shea on the back end. That's a really good addition for them. I think they're going to be much better this season than they were last season.
Also, the reason I was tuning out to the Gurianov part, Stamkos, two-time.
5-time WWE champion. 5-time WWE champion. Booker T.
More than Pavelski. Anyway,
thanks a lot, San Jose.
It kind of pisses me off because they don't have betting odds on this, but does Barry Trotz win GM of the year, Ethan? And I don't want to hear about Jim Nill. Just
he does. No. I think he's won it. He won it a few months ago.
Yeah. Does this make, with Barry Trotz not flipping this team so quickly, but obviously they were in a little bit of a rebuild, and now all of a sudden they are somewhat of a contender. I think we can all agree. Does that tarnish David Poyle's reputation at all, Jesse? Not doing enough. You know what I mean? Like
I think he
Barry
did
Trotz came in
enough.
here. Yeah, go ahead.
I think he did enough. I mean, he got them to the Stanley Cup final a couple years ago. I don't think that obviously you want to win it all, and we'll see after. Ask me this question if the Predators win the cup this year. I don't think that's going to happen, but ask me that question if the Preds win the cup this year.
I think it does make him look bad. I was just jumping in there.
No, go ahead.
But I think it makes him look bad, but it also it's understandable. Barry Trotz is playing the long game and has been playing the long game, and it's paying off now because not only has he made all those signings you listed, they still have $4.6 million in cap space. He's playing the game.
How do you think UC Saros is going to do this year, Jesse? You think he's going to be Vezina?
Top 3 Vezina candidate. Top 3.
Josi for Norris?
I mean, he's good. I don't think he's going to get the Norris Trophy this year. There's too many good defensemen that could compete against him. I'm glad that he got the nod last year, but I don't think he's going to win it.
So, on top of all this and how good their team is and all that, 2025 NHL draft, 3 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks.
Wow.
I mean, that's crazy.
They've got capital. They've got capital to trade. And they've got cap space.
It's wild. Yeah. I wonder, does it tell you who the picks are? Vegas, Tampa Bay, and Nashville.
They got like 25 picks from Tampa Bay. So
the Vegas one, if it's a top 10, they just get San Jose's other pick.
Yeah, unless like Vegas absolutely it's the tank this year. They're not going to be able
the NHL's not going to let them do that. The NHL's going to give them a pass for everything.
I don't like the $5 million, but
4.4.
Oh, I mean, I think we're all on a higher on better or worse than last year, Jesse.
Better.
Ethan.
Worse? No, of course they're better.
Now, Ethan, say it with me. Go Preds, go! Go Preds, go!
I think you're just mocking me.
Disconnected there for a second.
Anyway,
I think he's just mocking me from going to the Preds game in Vancouver last year and having that Canadian tell me to shut the fuck up. I thought that was great.
That's amazing. That's amazing. We're gonna move on.
Yeah, we can speed through the rest.
The Bruins in the 2019. Oh yeah, huh? St. Louis Blues. They added Alex Texier, Radka Fatska,
Radek Faksa,
because that one. The Joseph brothers, and they say goodbye to Kevin Hayes, Sammy Blaze, Jacob Vrana. Ethan, does this team excite you at all?
No.
Not one bit. Not one damn bit.
No.
Yes, Jordan.
No,
go ahead.
No, I had nothing else.
Jesse, does Jordan Binnington make the Four Nations face-off?
What nationality is he?
Canadian.
No.
Who goes instead of him?
What?
Who's the 3 that you're picking over him?
I'll have to. I don't know have anybody off the top of my head, but it's not going to be him.
Excellent.
Markstrom?
Markstrom's Canadian. Yeah.
No, is he?
I think he is.
I have no idea. I don't know these guys. I don't know these guys' nationalities. They're lucky I know their names.
We don't really care about the St. Louis Blues, so we're gonna skip over them.
I do like Pavel Buchnevich. I do like Jake Neighbors on this team, but I don't think they're going to be much of anything. I don't have them making the playoffs.
No.
They also have a lot of future considerations to pay up for at some point, because they were the highlight future consideration team.
Not Vegas.
No.
So while they have future considerations, the Minnesota Wild has a bunch of money in the books as they had to buy out 2 players. And now Ethan's Dallas Stars team is also paying.
This is the last season for that, isn't it?
Yes. Yep. You can look, but I'm right.
I think
they
he
added,
is.
No, I'm saying Ryan
Yes.
Suter. He's out. He's getting paid through 2027, 2028.
From you
And
guys.
Parise.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, but it's not the big hits. The 15 million's over. I think it's like 1.5 or something.
Yeah, this is the last year for over 7.3 million for Parise and Suter. This is the last year.
Gotcha. So the big hits.
So the Minnesota Wild added Jacob Lauko, who I love, who was a former Bruin, Yakov Trenin. They said goodbye to Goligoski. And that's about it. They still have Marc-Andre Fleury. They're hoping for a bounce-back season for Philip Gustafsson. They obviously still have Kirill Kaprizov, Mac Boldy,
Bat
Joel
Moldy.
Eriksson, Brock Faber. They got some good pieces there, but I don't see them moving the needle at all.
I think they're just going to barely miss the playoffs.
Ooh. I think this is for the Minnesota Wild, this season is the Marc-Andre Fleury send-off. That is what this season's about. That's as good as it's going to get. But next year, they're on the cusp.
Yeah. On that note with Marc-Andre Fleury, I think it's safe to assume he's going to stay in the game of hockey. If he goes to work for a team, what team is he working for?
Pittsburgh.
Excellent. Let's move on to Ethan's favorite team, Utah Hockey Club. They added Kevin Stenlund, Mikhail Sergachev, John Marino, Ian Cole. They said goodbye to J.J. Moser, Josh Brown, and Alex Marullo. So, Ethan, how many hot dogs? You like that, huh?
Took me a second.
Shit, I hope I can remember his name in time. How many hot dogs do you eat at the stadium? Because you're all excited about these prices.
I'm going to a game.
Nice.
I have it. Where is it? Nice. I had it pulled up.
Ethan's gonna do the Nathan's hot dog challenge at this game. He's gonna buy all the hot dogs for like $50, and he's gonna eat them all.
So okay. Here's the story of a lovely lady. And their name are the Utah Hockey Club fans. And they've announced their concessions. Dasani water bottle, don't buy that, but $2.
Don't buy that.
Box of popcorn, $3. Nachos, $3. Hot dogs, $3. And Farr's ice cream, $3. I think this is going to have a bigger impact than most people think on the team. I think you're going to have happier fans. You're going to have louder fans. You're going to have sold out arenas. And I thought this team was going to do better last year in Mullet Arena. So we'll get to the rankings later, but I think they're better.
With all these concessions getting cheaper, there's no beer that is cheaper, though, right? So I don't know
they did not list that.
So I made a joke about that, and I was told that Utah doesn't have alcoholic beer, so I don't really know what the truth is. Someone let me know. If you're in Utah, let me know, because I don't know what the truth is.
That is not the right page there. Holy
I've never thought about that.
I've
been to Utah, but I wasn't looking.
Well, next time you go out there, let me know. When is that happening?
December.
Oh, even closer than I expected. Yeah, you're going to have to let me know how strong the alcohol is, or if there is any at all. Kat,
Jesse, without looking... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just real quick, Kat in our chat says beer is $12 for a 24-ounce domestic.
Alcoholic or non-alcoholic?
It's O'Doul's.
Oh, there are
ABV
limits.
Yeah. Stupid. Whatever.
Jesse, without looking, who's their number one center?
Is it not Logan Cooley? I don't know.
That was my guess.
Lawson Krause is a winger.
Nick Bjugstad listed.
Nick Bjugstad. I never would have guessed that. Kat says they don't have one.
Hayden at number 2. Yeah. at all.
I do like the addition of Mikhail Sergachev for them. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they'll be there.
Yeah, I think they'll. Yeah, it'll be interesting. He's injured. Oh, so much for that.
Yeah, Bugstad is IR. 2.1. Jeez.
Let's move on to a team that does have a center, and that's the Chicago Blackhawks. They added Teuvo Teravainen, Tyler Bertuzzi, Ilya
Mikheyev? Sure, whatever.
Pat Maroon, Craig Smith, DJ Brody, Alec Martinez, Lauren Brossois, and they had the second overall pick, which I believe, I don't know what the kid's name was. He's nasty though, but he's injured right now. They said goodbye to Tyler Johnson, who's hopefully going to sign with the Bruins. Colin Blackwell, Taylor Radish, Jared Tenorti. That's about it. Bottom dwelling team. There'll be another top 10 pick next year. Does anyone disagree?
No. No.
Oh, Ethan, I was expecting you to say they're a wild card team.
I like what they're working towards. I like the signing of Teravainen. I like bringing in Bertuzzi, getting guys that are veterans in this league around Connor Bedard, but they're not going anywhere.
Ethan,
12.
How do you feel about this team?
12 of their players are signed past next season of their 21 players.
Well, it'll give them more of an opportunity to build around Bedard.
And the majority of those players signed past next season, they're up the next season. So I think
they still have
Connor
Seth
Bedard incubator.
They still have Seth Jones forever at $9.5 million, right?
I'm glad.
What's a worse contract, Seth Jones or Darnell Nurse?
Oof. Darnell Nurse made it to the Stanley Cup final, so I'm going to say Seth Jones.
I think Seth Jones is a better player.
Ethan, go down the list. Give me your rankings for this, please.
All right. The Dallas Stars are number 1, baby. Come on.
Ethan, you need 2 teams here for the playoffs, by the way.
Dallas Stars. They're going to be number 1, followed by the Nashville Predators.
Ooh. I like that.
Followed by the Colorado Avalanche at the number 3 spot.
Yep.
Then I've got the Utah Hockey Club.
Yep.
Then the Jets. Then the Wild, Blues, Blackhawks.
So you have both the Utah Hockey Club and Winnipeg making playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ballsy.
It is.
Wrong. Jesse, why don't you shoot?
I've got Dallas at number 1 as well. I really don't think that they got worse. I like the way that team performed last season, so I'm going to keep them there. Colorado at 2, Nashville at 3. I was struggling a lot for this next one, and I just threw in the Winnipeg Jets at 4. I don't like them in the playoffs. I don't like them as a team right now, but we'll see what happens. Minnesota Wild at 5, Utah at 6, St. Louis Blues at 7, and Chicago at 8.
So we are pretty close. I have Dallas at 1, Colorado at 2, Nashville at 3, Winnipeg getting a wild card. I have the Utah Hockey Club jumping up a couple spots purely because of Mikhail Sergachev and the couple other additions that they made.
And the
then
concession
I have St. Louis.
prices. Come on.
And the concession prices. Yep, that's it. The fact that they have an owner, the fact that building's going to be bumping. St. Louis, Minnesota, Chicago finishes it up.
Will you be able to see the building bumping, though? Probably not.
What's with that? Like, is there pillars in everyone's way? Do they have like
there's like
over the seats?
From what I saw, it looks like a landing, like a seat. Where the seats are, you can't see like a third of the ice.
No. It's not that bad. It's like if you're behind the net, third level, the second level blocks
the entire
your
zone.
vision of like the goal. No, it's like the goal line back.
That's the most
Maybe
important
half.
part.
No,
Take
it
pictures
is.
for us.
It is. I will. It's not a third of the ice. It's not like you can't see behind the blue line.
No,
It's about to the hashes, I think.
I feel like you're probably right. Okay. So it blocks like 75% of the zone,
Yes.
which sucks.
And it's just on the ends, and they're fixing it. Right?
I know they're gonna fix it. I better than being in a
still-
5,000 seat arena.
They're still going.
Yeah, they are. And you don't have to deal with Alex Murillo anymore, so that's a win too. That's the ultimate win for the Utah Hockey Club.
Cass, who did you have at the end there?
An NHL team, Chicago.
Oh, I thought you said Wild for some.
No, this.
Do your last three again.
Yeah, Utah Hockey Club, St. Louis, Minnesota, and Chicago. So,
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. We're a little over time,
With
so we'll
another-
go fast.
Ethan's list. Yep.
It's not my list. Do not accredit this
Yeah.
list to me.
I gotta
The
find
NHL
it.
Network.
There
To
it is.
wrap up their bogus lists, their top 10 centers, you've got Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Austin Matthews, Leon Draisaitl, Alexander Barkov, Sidney Crosby, Braden Point, Jack Eichel, Jack Hughes, and Elias Pettersson.
I forgot to move you guys in. Sorry.
I there's not much gripe with this one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think this one's perfect. I was looking at it before we started, and I really don't have anything negative to say about this.
Jack Hughes could maybe not be on the top 10. I don't know.
I think
Sidney
he's so
Crosby,
low
I
because
think,
he
is
was
too
injured
high.
last year. I
Yeah.
think you're nuts. He should be between the 8 and the 7. Ho ho ho.
To wrap up the rest of this list, at 11 there's JT Miller, 12 is Sebastian Aho, the Carolina Hurricanes one. 13 is Connor Bedard, 14 is Rupe Hintz, 15 is Dylan Larkin, Nick Suzuki at 16, Stützle at 17, 18 Robert Thomas of the St. Louis Blues, 19 Mika Zibanejad, 20 Nico Hischier. I think Hischier should be a little bit higher up on this, but I like the top 10. I think that's perfect.
JT Miller, you wouldn't take JT Miller over the bottom 3 of this list?
No.
No.
Nope. I'm kind of surprised going out to 20 that like Elias Lindholm isn't ranked higher than Nico Hischier. I mean, I know he's a newly dubbed Bruin, but at the same time.
But he has pedigree in the league, so I get where you're coming from on that. I like Hischier. I think he should be in the top 20.
Yeah.
I think Jack Hughes and JT Miller should swap.
I think you're crazy.
If Jack Hughes is healthy, sure, he can make the top 10.
That's a big if.
Yeah, and JT Miller is great.
I'm upset that the Rangers lost him, but Vancouver's gain, I guess.
Should Trocheck be a top 20?
I would probably put him at the 20th mark.
25, top 25.
I think top 25 is reasonable.
25.
Alan said Point over Eichel. I hate the guy, but I don't think Point is better. I think you're crazy.
I do think Point's better, but
I think
we'll
Point's
really
100%
see
better.
this year if he really is that much better.
Oh. I think Jack Eichel is more. I feel like Jack Eichel doesn't always play center. I could be completely making that up, but
I have no
I
idea.
don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm curious, real quick, what?
no.
So
Go Preds, go. Go Preds, go.
Nathan here's the
Ethan.
actual top 10 in points last season.
Ethan, you
McKinnon,
suck.
McDavid, Matthews, Draisaitl, JT Miller, number 5
One
in
season.
points.
Look at the last
Okay,
5
the
seasons.
most recent one.
know?
Crosby. This is Reinhardt. Reinhardt was on the winger list. Braden Point, Sebastian Aho, Patterson at the 10th spot.
You suck.
Yeah.
It's all your
that
fault. It's all your fault.
All right. I've had enough.
That's it, pretty much.
I think we've all had enough.
But hey, congrats to making it through the offseason. We are here. It's NHL time.
Don't tell my job, but I'm calling out to go to the Seattle Kraken home opener.
Shout out to Jesse's job. Thanks for watching.
Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you. Follow us on Twitter, X, at Top Shelf Dusters, Facebook.com/Top Shelf Dusters. No one's emailed us, so I'm very upset about that. Maybe you should email us at topshelfdusters@gmail.com.
If you want a free copy of NHL 25, make sure you're following the page, share the streams, comment, like.
Do all the things.
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll do a raffle.
Yes. Thank you so much. We'll catch you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Have a good week, everybody.